Have you ever had somebody tell you to stop lying to yourself? Because if you could just stop lying to yourself, the truth would set you free, right? And I believe that's true. In sex addiction, there's a lot of lying that usually happens. And that's something that we definitely need to work through to recover. We need to learn to get honest. We need to learn to get open. But another really important subject that doesn't get talked about a lot is delusion. And lying and delusion they are very different. So lying is like a way of covering up information or hiding information so as not to get in trouble, for example. On the other hand, delusion is very different. Delusion is not hiding information at all. Delusion is believing something is true when it's not true. And when we believe something that's true that isn't, we act as if it is true, which can cause tons and tons of problems. So in my addiction, I was very delusional on multiple occasions. So let me give you some examples. One of my delusions was that I could get better by myself. And I tried to get better by myself for many, many, many years. One day, I had an enlightening experience when my wife basically was ready to kick me out of the house. And she was backed up by a counselor. And I was enlightened. Real quick, I recognized that I needed to do something different than work by myself to get through this, because I'd been trying to work by myself for years. It was delusional, and I was enlightened. And I want you to just remember that word, enlightened, because it's really important when it comes to healing. Let me give you another example of delusional thinking. I read a lot of books, about sex addiction and recovery. And I'd heard even in the Sexaholics Anonymous book, it's called the White Book. In that particular reading, it states to basically be careful of what you share to your partner, because what you share could hurt them and damage them. And so be careful. So I had this idea in my head that I shouldn't share some information with my spouse, as if that was going to be helpful. And I really believed it. But my wife really believed that she needed to know all the information she was asking for her to do some healing. And finally, I told my wife, what it was that she wanted to hear. And I was enlightened, because I thought it was going to hurt, which it did, but I thought it would hurt her forever, and that she wouldn't be able to recover, which wasn't true. What was interesting is I told her, she worked through the pain, and then she recovered. So I was believing something that was not true. It was delusional. When we are delusional about such things, we cannot heal. In order to heal, we need to have enlightenment. For example, lots of men who are sex addicts become enlightened that they have a real problem and they need help when their wife finds out and the crap hits the fan. They become enlightened when they get arrested. They become enlightened when they get an STD, for example. So in recovery, more than just stopping these lies, like we talked about, hiding information, that kind of stuff, right? And covering up important information, we need to be enlightened to the faulty beliefs that we have. And when we become enlightened, we will heal.